Hello NBA fans, every day we have news about the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan and I'm counting on you to subscribe to the channel and leave your. The Lakers are being urged to sign Quentin Grimes from the Philadelphia 76ers because he's a high-energy player who provides solid scoring and excelled last season. Quentin Grimes is young and could play alongside Doncic for many years with the Lakers. He's the kind of player who will quickly become a fan favorite. And the Lakers will need to trade Austin Reaves for a talented player, and Quentin Grimes fits that profile. Quentin Grimes remains one of the top free agents yet to be signed this offseason, joining Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey, and Cam Thomas. For the Lakers, Grimes would offer a replacement for Reaves in the short term and could stick around alongside Luka Doncic. He's also projected to be a more cost-effective option than Reaves. While the Lakers will likely prioritize keeping Reaves long-term, he could become a viable trade candidate if extension talks stall and he approaches the open market. Grimes showcased intriguing potential after being traded to the injury-riddled Sixers from the Dallas Mavericks in February, averaging 21.9 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.5 assists and 1.5 steals while shooting 37.3% from three-point range in 33.6 minutes per game over 28 regular season appearances for Philadelphia. Although the sample size is small, Grimes' strong stint with the 76ers has made him a candidate to receive a lucrative deal in restricted free agency. However, it remains to be seen whether he'll be part of the team's long-term plans alongside Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe. The 76ers could move on from Grimes. Nicholas Kyle-Pring of the Sixers Sense believes Grimes and the 76ers will eventually reach an agreement on a new deal, though that could also position him as a trade candidate later on. For now, him staying with the 76ers is inevitable, although that partnership will most likely end up being a short one, he wrote. And if that is indeed the case, the 76ers could look to move him to another team, potentially for someone like, say, Austin Reaves. Reaves is expected to decline his $14.9 million player option for the 2026-27 campaign and seek a more substantial deal, whether with the Los Angeles Lakers or elsewhere. The team will likely engage in extension talks with the rising star this summer, but if no deal is reached, Reaves could depart in free agency. If Los Angeles feels it cannot retain the 6'5" shooting guard, he'll likely become a trade candidate so the club doesn't risk losing him for nothing. A trade involving Grimes would certainly be intriguing, as the 76ers would add a rising star and perimeter threat in Reaves, even if he ends up being a short-term rental. NBA fans are not buying into potential Lakers 2025-26 rotation. The Los Angeles Lakers have built one of the most intriguing rosters in the league this offseason, but their potential 2025-26 rotation is already drawing skepticism. On paper, the team's projected starting lineup looks formidable: Luka Doncic running point, Austin Reaves at shooting guard, Rui Hachimura sliding into the small forward slot, LeBron James at power forward, and DeAndre Ayton anchoring the middle. The second unit features Gabe Vincent, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jackson Hayes, while Bronny James, Dalton Knecht, Maxi Kleber, Adithiero, and the Lakers' two-way players round out the depth chart. Yet, as exciting as the star power looks, NBA fans aren't convinced this rotation will work as smoothly as the front office hopes. The biggest concern comes on the defensive end. Social media was quick to point out that a Doncic-Reaves backcourt could leave the Lakers vulnerable against elite guard play. One fan joked, "LMAO, do we plan on allowing other teams to score 180 points that starting lineup?" That critique echoes long-standing questions about Luka's defensive commitment and Reaves' struggles to contain quicker guards. While Ayton is a capable rim protector, he isn't considered elite defensively, meaning the Lakers could be leaning heavily on LeBron and Rui to plug holes. Others questioned the balance of the roster. Dalton Knecht, the Lakers' 2024 lottery pick, is already viewed by many fans as one of the better scoring options on the team. Dalton Knecht is probably the 7th or 8th best player on the team when given the minutes, one comment read, suggesting the rookie could end up forcing his way into a bigger role. There's also debate about Rui Hachimura's fit in the starting five, with fans preferring Jared Vanderbilt to bring defensive energy from the jump. "I prefer Vondo starting and Rui off the bench," wrote another fan, highlighting the need for more balance between offense and defense. Even the second unit has its share of doubts. While Marcus Smart brings grit, leadership, and defensive toughness, some fans believe he should start over Reeves to allow Doncic to dominate the ball more freely. "Switch Smart and Reeves tbh so Luka can cook and second unit has a consistent scorer," one fan suggested. Without that adjustment, the bench unit could lack firepower, as many pointed out, second unit going to struggle to score the rock. The Lakers' depth at center is another sticking point. Beyond Ayton, the options are limited, and Jackson Hayes has yet to prove he can be a reliable rotation player on a playoff-caliber team. "LOL, they cooked at center position still," a fan bluntly observed. For all the criticism, one thing is clear: expectations are sky-high. With Luka Doncic locked in for 3 more years and LeBron still capable of producing at an elite level, fans demand a rotation that can compete for a championship. Whether the Lakers stick with their projected lineup or make adjustments as the season unfolds, the scrutiny will be relentless. Right now, though, much of the NBA world simply isn't buying the balance, defense, or scoring punch of this potential rotation. Seriously viewed as a candidate, Los Angeles Lakers star expected to gain attention at the trade deadline. The 2025-26 NBA trade deadline is set to be one of the most eventful occasions in the league next season. There are a few players who many believe would be part of a potential trade. One of the players who is expected to be in the trade market is Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James. The 4-time champion is in the final year of his 2-year, $101 million contract. There's an expectation that he'll likely move on from the Lakers next season. The 4-time MVP wants to continue contending for a title, but the LA team didn't build a competitive team this offseason. Due to that, some believe James will request a trade next season. No one knows how long the 6'9" forward will continue to play. But given that he's 40 years old, he could soon retire from the sport. Bleacher Report's Grant Hughes thinks that James could catch a ton of attention at the NBA trade deadline if he asks out of the Los Angeles Lakers. The main reason would be if the Lakers aren't competitive enough to contend for a championship. Shoehorning LeBron James into any list is good business because his name drives traffic and interest. But his inclusion here isn't about clicks. It's fully warranted because the Los Angeles Lakers are clearly no longer his team, and because he's playing out the last year of his deal before 2026 free agency, Hughes wrote. James may want to control his destiny via a trade request, and from the Lakers' perspective, it'd make sense to get something for him if the alternative is losing him for nothing in free agency. As the trade deadline draws closer, Hughes added, teams like the Miami Heat and Cleveland Cavaliers could continue to pay close attention. James has consistently been the best player on the teams he has played for throughout the majority of his career. However, his situation with the Los Angeles Lakers has changed. With Luka Doncic, the organization has shifted its focus to building a competitive team around him. It's something that the 2003 Rookie of the Year has longed for throughout his time in LA. However, the Lakers chose not to part with their assets to make room for a younger player because of his advanced age. Now that Doncic is the face of the Lakers, ESPN's Stephen A. Smith said that James shouldn't be offended. They got new blood. A cat that's going to be the face of the franchise for the next decade, where he's contemplating walking away from the game in the next year or two. Last time I checked, that's business, Smith said. The Lakers are ready to move on from James, and Smith wants the star forward to do the same thing. NBA reporter highlights Lakers' main roster flaw, says they're below OKC and Timberwolves. The Los Angeles Lakers have built an impressive squad for the 2025-26 NBA season, but according to one league insider, there are still some areas that could use improvement. After a disappointing campaign last time out, the front office moved quickly to overhaul the roster and address several of their biggest issues. It was not all smooth sailing early on, though. Rob Pelinka's hardline approach in negotiations ended up costing them Dorian Finney-Smith. Versus Wings, August 15, 25. But Pelinka bounced back later in the offseason, playing a key role in bringing DeAndre Ayton and Jake LaRavia on board. Luka Doncic then helped round out the group by convincing Marcus Smart to join up. With those moves done, it is worth asking where the Lakers might still have room to get better. According to NBA reporter Jovan Buha, the team's roster looks strong in one area but lacks balance on the other end of the court. While he is confident about their scoring options, he feels that their defense does not quite match up with the league's top teams. On paper, this should be a top 10, if not a top 5 offense. You got Luka, you got Austin, LeBron, DeAndre, Rui, even going into Marcus Smart and Gabe Vincent. You've got 6-7 guys who can drop 15-plus points on any given night. To me, it's the defensive end where if you're looking at Smart, Gabe and Jared Vanderbilt as your 3 best perimeter defenders. It's solid. But when you look at what OKC has, when you look at what Minnesota has, when you look at what Houston has, I don't really think it's in the same class. So I think they're still on the deficit on the defensive end, and that's where I think they need to find an upgrade, he said to NBAX Sirius XM Radio. Lakers still need more defensive talent. Though Rob Pelinka added Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart, both reliable 3 and D players, their defensive presence, even with Jared Vanderbilt, might not be enough to anchor the defense against elite teams. With the roster still lacking defensive depth, the Lakers may need to consider using some of their remaining assets to find help. Dalton Knecht and Gabe Vincent are 2 names that could come up in trade talks. Knecht's name has already surfaced in trade rumors following a rough showing at the NBA Summer League. If Pelinka can find a deal for a proven defender, it is worth pursuing. The current group has plenty of talent and should be competitive in the West, but without further improvements on defense, it is hard to see them keeping pace with the top contenders. Heat just gifted Lakers perfect Luka Doncic piece after latest move. By dumping hated Highsmith to the Brooklyn Nets, the Miami Heat just gifted the Los Angeles Lakers a perfect trade target to help Luka Doncic. The Miami Heat just dumped Haywood Highsmith to the Brooklyn Nets, giving the Los Angeles Lakers a perfect trade target to go after. Highsmith's 3-and-D game would be a perfect fit next to Luka Doncic as the Lakers look to pair him with players who help his style of play. Highsmith has been a solid player for the Heat for the last 4 years. He began his career with the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2018-19 season but ended up playing overseas afterward. Since then, he's found new life with the Heat and will now be looking for his next NBA home. The Lakers should absolutely be interested in bringing him to LA. Why would Haywood Highsmith help Luka Doncic? In order to effectively build a team around Doncic, a few things are required. A rim-running big man is preferred, much like Derek Lively II and Daniel Gafford on the Dallas Mavericks. DeAndre Ayton can play that role for the Lakers. An additional, high-level ball handler is crucial. Kyrie Irving played that role in Dallas, and LeBron James and Austin Reeves are more than capable of doing it in LA. Past that, it comes down to 2 things, 3-point shooting and defense. Surrounding Doncic with as much floor spacing and defensive help as possible is an essential piece of the puzzle. This is the reason the Lakers added Dorian Finney-Smith last season. It's why Rui Hachimura works for them. But they don't have enough 3-and-D players just yet. That's where Highsmith comes into play. The Nets are tanking this year. That much is painfully obvious. They added Highsmith for basically nothing, as the Heat were looking to save some money. Now, they could look to trade him at or before the deadline for draft capital. Perhaps they would even consider moving him before the season begins. Highsmith only makes $5.6 million, and he's on an expiring contract. That's a pretty easy deal to trade for. The Lakers could make something happen fairly easily. Adding his 3-point shooting and defensive pressure would be absolutely perfect, giving JJ Redick an ideal rotation piece to surround Doncic with as much help as possible. Having that type of guy in the lineup would be ideal, and considering the price likely won't be too expensive, the Lakers should absolutely be keeping a close eye on Highsmith in the trade market. If there's a deal to be done, they should pounce, and the Heat's desire to save money could result in a huge Lakers victory. How Luka Doncic fared for Slovenia vs Great Britain, LA Lakers superstar returns to action after injury. Luka Doncic returned to the basketball court 72 hours after suffering an injury. When Luka Doncic left the court injured for Slovenia against Latvia, LA Lakers fans briefly feared the very worst. Doncic was hurt after a teammate fell on his knee, but a subsequent team statement signaled he was set to return to action. Slovenia selected Luka Doncic as a starter in their international friendly with Great Britain, searching for a victory after 4 successive losses. Luka Doncic looked back to his normal self as he led the scoring for Slovenia once again, and this time fired his team towards victory/25. Slovenia won the game 93-81, with Luka Doncic putting on a masterclass in the win, although there was some errant three-point shooting. Doncic scored 28 points, with 21 coming in the first half of the game. He played 28 minutes in total. He did not quite manage a triple-double, only posting 6 rebounds to go with his 10 assists. Doncic shot 7-17 from the field, including a wild 2-11 from three-point range. He will need to fix that against stronger opposition. Data from SofaScore shows Doncic was a +23 for Slovenia when he was on the court despite his misses, a major positive differential for his team. Doncic was almost perfect from the free throw line, scoring 12 from 14 attempts. Next up for Luka Doncic. Slovenia and Luka Doncic may play a little more freely after recording their first victory ahead of the Eurobasket. But an exciting game awaits on August 21, up against Nikola Jokic's Serbia side. A sellout crowd of 18,000 is expected, with the Serbian basketball president saying 100,000 fans would attend if they could. Slovenia will be underdogs at the Eurobasket tournament, which kicks off on August 27.